sometimes Mouse and I talk about books and book-related things, and today I will be talking about my wrap-up from April. I do want to give a little bit of a disclaimer and a fair warning. The bird who lives downstairs has just woken up, and he is beeping. So if you hear weird sounds in the background, like whistling or beeping, that is definitely the African gray parrot that lives downstairs, and I don't have any control over what he does. So he's the demon and he runs my life. I'm gonna go get my coffee though. I forgot it over there. So can you just 1 second? Okay, so if you've watched my wrap-ups before, you know that I generally start with stats, and then I will give you my top 5 books of the month, and then the worst book of the month. So, if you recall from last month, if you watch my videos at all, then you would know that I got a library card, which definitely changed the way that I've been reading, because while I was getting library books already from Libby, a lot of my audiobooks that I get are library books from Libby. Now I'm able to go in and look at books and just grab them with no input from the internet, which is very cool. So that's been an interesting change in the way that I've been reading books. Anyway, let's get the statistics part rolling and then we'll talk about the top 5 books. This month was not the best month compared to last month, but still pretty solid. I read 40 books, 15,435 pages. I listened for 317 hours, and my average rating was a 4, which is better than last month, so really not that bad. I read 21 audiobooks, 11 ebooks, and 8 physical books, and 27 of those books were library books. The rest were like things that I borrowed or already owned. Then I read 21 fantasy, 10 books with queer characters, 3 sci-fi books, 1 retelling, 1 thriller, 2 contemporary, 1 dystopian, and 1 romance. I read 28 young adult books, 8 adult books, 8 middle grade books. I read from 29 cisgendered authors, 27 white authors, 11 disabled authors, 11 queer authors, 11 non-binary authors, 10 people of color, 2 neurodiverse authors, and 11 debut authors. As always, I try really hard to diversify my reads. This was a little bit better than last month, I think, but as always, I can definitely do better. Those are the books that I read. When it comes to why this month wasn't as good as it could have been, it definitely, with like the amount of books that I read, it definitely was because I had so many medical things that I needed to get done. So I had that 24-hour day where I needed to stay up for the whole time for the EEG. I had my vaccination. I had my partner come into town. So life has been a little bit on fire. I also moved last month, so I've been adjusting to the new space and reading. And the interesting thing about living with your best friend is that you don't want to spend your whole day holed up in your room reading. Weird. But when we both have the day off, I don't spend the whole day in my room reading or even downstairs reading. Like, we go and hang out, which is very cool. But it does change the way that I've been reading. I'm not mad about it, to be very clear. I am reading a little bit more ebooks and physical books than I was before. I think I had switched to mostly audiobooks just because I was packing and that kind of made sense at the time, but I'm switching back to a little bit more physical books, and so I will be interested to see how that changes in the next month. Yeah, so that's all of the stats for this month. Let's talk about the top 5 books of the month, and then I will tell you about the worst book that I read this month. The top 5 is going to start with The Echo Wife by Sarah Gailey. This is a sci-fi thriller. Holy crap, is that book fucking weird. Sarah Gailey generally writes books with queer characters and that kind of thing. That was not the energy of The Echo Wife. However, holy shit, like that book was whack as fuck. So if you like kind of confusing books and sci-fi books and thrillers and clones, then this is the book for you. Also, if you really like Gailey's writing, which I definitely do. The next one is going to be Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. Because of course, I would say Chain of Gold and Chain of Iron, but it felt like I shouldn't give the Shadowhunters 2 spots on the list. This was the continuation in the Last Hours trilogy. Is it going to be a trilogy? I'm pretty sure it is. This is going to be the next book that came out a couple of months ago, I believe. Wow, someone's yelling. This is going to be the next book. I read it in 24 hours with Chain of Gold for that EEG I just mentioned earlier. It was really, really good. Was it as good as Chain of Gold? No, it wasn't. But I think it set us up for a lot of pieces in the next book. So yes, it suffered from second book syndrome, but it's Cassandra Clare, and so I know that it's probably just set up for a lot of other pieces. I think that Cassandra Clare does a pretty good job with plot holes and making sure there aren't too many, but maybe that's just me and I have terrible memory. I don't know. The next book in my top 5 is going to make art bully me. Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This is a romance book, a romance contemporary book, where we follow two boys across political landscapes who love each other. It's about their romance, and I liked the book a lot. Art basically told me that if I was going to be her matron of honor, gremlin of honor, I would have to read this book and be able to answer quiz questions, which is really interesting because Art should know that my memory is terrible, and also, according to everyone on the internet, I only read for clout, so I don't comprehend anything. That's a joke. No one take that seriously. I'm joking. Yeah, I don't know why Art thinks I'm going to remember anything. I have terrible memory, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very funny. I will be reading One Last Stop because I enjoyed the writing so much from this book. Casey McQuiston is a fantastic author based on this one book alone. I'm not happy about it, in case you can't tell. But anyway, I enjoyed it. It was a good book. Next up, we have the two arcs that I read this month that I'm going to highly recommend to you. That's going to be The Dead in the Dark by Courtney Gold. This is a horror sapphic book. It mixes paranormal and mental health and queerness and homophobia and racism all into one book, as well as having a murder mystery going on at the same time, which is super cool. I didn't actually, I had high hopes for it, but then I started reading it and I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Now I'm concerned. Maybe I don't have the highest hopes for it anymore. I was wrong. It was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. Once you get 30% into the book ranks up and you're just like, oh shit, I can't put this down. I have to read this all in one go, which I don't generally do. That was one of the books that I stayed up all night to read, and I regret. So regret as in my sleep schedule regrets it, not regret as in I regret the story, because it was really fantastic and I enjoyed it a lot. Finally, we have Not My Problem by Sierra Smith. This is another queer book, however, it is a romance contemporary vibe. If you have never read, not Sierra, Kiera, sorry, I have been correcting myself for weeks on that name and still fucked it up. So Kiera Smith, this book follows, a troublesome Aideen, and she is being asked to maybe do better by her school and by her friends and stuff, and so she makes an effort to do that, and she starts doing favors for other people to help them out, and so when she helps them out, then they owe her a favor and they go from there. It's kind of chaotic and sweet and really funny, and I enjoyed it a lot. I like Kiera Smith's writing quite a lot. I want to own the two of her books, this one, Not My Problem, and then you guys know what I'm talking about. I'll probably put the book here because didn't take my meds today, so we're not focusing. But that's the one I'm talking about. Is really, really good. Okay, now for my favorite part. Is it? I don't know. Where I talk about the worst book that I read this month. It's going to be Dorothy Must Die by Danielle Page. We're going to put these away. I don't need them anymore to talk about this book. Dorothy Must Die is supposed to be a Wizard of Oz retelling. However, it more follows what happens after the Wizard of Oz, and it assumes that you already know a lot about the Wizard of Oz, which is fine, I guess. I did know a lot about the Wizard of Oz, so it really wasn't hard for me. The back of the book insinuates that in this book is when Dorothy is going to get murdered, or we are going to be trying to murder Dorothy and following these specific set of instructions that are listed on the back of the book. Now, it was a hardback, so the inside flap does explain what the book is about, but the back of the book, gives you those things that you want to read. And none of those things are what happened in the book. Not a single one of them are what happened in the book. The question I had the whole entire time didn't get answered until 98% in the book, and that line on the back of the book doesn't happen until 98% of the book. She does not kill Dorothy. She doesn't even get that close to Dorothy until consistently close to Dorothy until way later. And our main character just gets passed around by a toxic group of people to a toxic group of people to a toxic group of people, and has no personality of her own. The romance doesn't make any sense. Neither romance makes any sense. And none of the characters were likable. Not a single character except the rat. The rat was likable, but none of the characters were likable. It felt like someone thought, hey, I can make easy money writing a book series about Dorothy and not answering any questions. Just setting up a bunch of plot sets and not answering any questions. And not actually doing anything interesting. This book is a part of a series that even when I look it up online, it seems like nobody's really sure what order these books go in. I think Dorothy, the Wizard of Oz series could 100% be made into something terrifying. I think Sci-Fi did a Dorothy series that did make it terrifying. This failed to do so. It was not interesting. The rebellion aspect was stupid. And it just fell through. It was not a good book. It was not a good book. Did not enjoy it. So, did finish it though, and got it returned to the library. But yeah, not a good book. Super don't recommend it to anyone. I'm very glad that I was talking about this with Aspasia from Asparagus Reads, or Asparagus is Reading, and luckily she had already read it and knew that it was bad, because I was like, I feel so misled, and she's like, who told you that was a good book? It's not a good book. Which made me feel better, because I was like, what? So now I know not to take recommendations from TikTok from people who don't know me, because then you would have known that I wouldn't have liked the book. Anyway, that was my wrap up. Let me know if you've read any of these books, or if the arcs are something that you're interested in looking into. I believe that Not My Problem comes out this month. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it comes out in May. And then The Dead in the Dark doesn't come out until later in the year. But let me know if you're interested in reading any of those books, or if you've read the Dorothy Must Die series, and if it gets any better. I'm not going to be reading them, but let me know if it gets any better. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you didn't, let me know how I can improve it for you. Don't forget to take your meds, take care of yourselves, etc. I do have other social media things that I will probably put right here. Hopefully Editing Me does that. So don't forget to like and subscribe, share, check out me on all those other things, and also be on the lookout for more Clear Your Shit things with the readathon, because we have a whole lot more coming for you, and maybe even a giveaway. So stay on the lookout. I hope you guys are having a great day. I will check back in with you guys on Thursday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, and again at Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks for watching. Okay, thanks, bye.